Businesses in the Philippines right now, gone.
Well, all I've looked at so far is a couple of restaurant videos, but I want to do some more research on how to get a business going in the Philippines. Like I said, it was only like $15,000 to get a business up and going on the beach, like mainstream shopping vacation spot.
And yeah, in the YouTube video you were watching, the guy's complaining about starting a bar for $15,000, but he actually, that's not very much money for us Americans, but you just told us about how they have this thing called the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and it's like a weird back alley internal revenue service that you have to be signed up with their service in order for the things that you sell to be expensed on other businesses' balance sheet or income statements. So if a company buys apples from a grocery store that works under the BIR, that is an expense that company can use on their income statement, and it goes against their revenue, and so they can show less profit, meaning they'll be taxed on less. But if they buy apples from a farmer that isn't from the Bureau of Internal Revenue, they can't write that expense down, and so they have an artificially inflated profit, meaning that they get taxed more in the Philippines.
But what I forgot to mention was that the apples at the market are like 10 times cheaper. So you're getting third world country flea market prices, but you're not allowed to claim it.
So I wonder if it's worth paying the extra taxes on the higher profit. You'd have to figure out what is their tax rate, and compare that to what is the expense.
Yes. And if you're operating a business in the Philippines that is aimed at the Filipinos, then you also have to keep track of the fact that they are living in a third world economy. So you can't just charge the prices that you need to cover your expenses, because they won't come in. So he also said that alcohol is not a way to make money.
Alcohol
in the Philippines, whereas in the U.S. you open a bar, you're kind of guaranteed to make a profit.
Is that because they ferment their own alcohol there?
They have their own alcohol producers, and it's just common practice to not overcharge. So he said you can buy a bottle of...
So alcohol's like water.
Yeah.
Like here we would give people water for free, and they give you alcohol for free over there.
Yeah. He said you buy a bottle of 26 ounces of alcohol for $2. So when you're selling it, you sell it for 25 cents a cup, and you just make $2.50. So where you make your money is your food.
Huh.
However, for my idea, I would try to focus on the expats.
What's your idea?
My idea is to take advantage of all these expats going over to the Philippines, trying to find brides. This international dating.
Yeah, a lot of guys are looking out of the U.S. for companionship, especially older guys, right? Retired guys are trying to end their life on a good note in a tropical place.
Yeah, either they're single, or either they're widowed or divorced, and they've retired, and so now they're gonna live the rest of their life on a tropical paradise island. And the Filipinos, as well as Taiwan and Vietnam, kind of all of Southeast Asia are welcoming them, and they're able to find women who are interested in relationships. But it's a wild experience where you have no idea what you're in for. There's no oversight. There's nobody, helping you not find a man in disguise, or a woman who's just, what do they call them? When you're on the phone with somebody and they just keep milking you for money, telling you that they're gonna be your love.
You're trying to create a service that protects these old guys from this type of stuff?
Yeah. What do you call that?
I don't know. You could call it the silver dating service or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yesterday we were talking about blue ocean strategy. And, because both of us, we've been working, just like low-end construction for a long time, making a little bit of money, but not enough, and just trying to figure out how to get ahead financially. And it just becomes obvious that, after a while, you discover that if you just compete in a game that you can win, you can win. So if you're playing a game where there's lots of players and lots of people who've been playing longer than you and know how it works, and the resources are all divvied up already, and you just have to eke out an existence, it's very hard. But if you can play a game in a place where there aren't as many players and it's just started and you're doing something that no one else is doing, this is like a blue ocean strategy. This would be like going to one of these other countries like the Philippines or what's that other, Tonga, something like that, and starting a service or a business or providing a product that either is new to everyone or is just new to this new place, and then you can win there without as much competition. And then once you win at that game in that open market, you can bring your money, your winnings from the game back to your home market, and it's still good. It's like if you're playing at casinos and all the chips from all the casinos work, but some casinos have a lower risk of the house winning, so you play there first for lower stakes, and then you get your chips and you bring them to the fucking Caesar Palace, and now you can play at the high stakes table. So that's kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about businesses in the Philippines and things like that. Blue ocean strategy.
Yeah, I like that. Going down into a market where it's a little bit easier to play, hopefully, and then bringing resources back from that market to America, where the market here is very stable, and so you can buy things in America to secure yourself, and then go back over there to play again with the small slots. Or
how much money do you think you'd need to take over to one of these places to get you going?
Well, I haven't done enough research yet, but off the top of my head, I'm thinking $50,000.
That seems like a lot.
Well, that's the minimum that it would cost to just start a restaurant here in the States.
Didn't you say this one guy did it for 15 grand in the Philippines?
He started a bar for 15 grand, but there's a lot of cautionary tales about the government involvement, and also there are employment rules in the Philippines so you have to be extremely careful hiring people, because even if they've only worked for you for like 2 days, you can't fire them unless they have done something egregious, and they have to sign a contract agreeing that they did do something egregious. So it's like really
but
scary labor laws.
So when I was in business school, I learned about this thing called minimum viable product, and it's where you just get started and you just put something out there and you get going because you have a lot of learning to do. And I think it's very hard to get $50,000 saved up. And I think that might be a hard goal to hit before you try to play at the low stakes table. So I think it'd be better to get a small amount of money together that would just be, obviously you'd get a times bonus in another country that has a less valuable currency, but you just want to get started playing that game so that you can start winning. If you just wait and wait and wait to get 50 grand, you'll get over there and you'll learn those lessons, but they'll be more expensive lessons because you're using bigger dollars. So I think probably this guy said 15 grand to start a bar. Probably should go over there with like 20 grand. That would probably be a good place to start, just off the top of my head.
I think it's important to just go there. Not just go there for a vacation, a working vacation, so that I can learn the lay of the land and figure out the different islands, the different opportunities.
Well, yeah, that would be your start. That you just have to start, because you're gonna fail a lot no matter what you try. A business, a job, anything, you just have to get into it. As soon as you start playing the game, you learn. And failing fast and hard, failing fast is better than failing hard. So if you start small and you just fail quickly, then you can ramp it up and you don't have to learn the same lessons at a bigger dollar price.
Yeah.
But since you're going to the Philippines, maybe is there another country in Southeast Asia or somewhere else that would be a better bang for your buck? Have you done any looking into that?
There were comments on several videos that were saying that Taiwan, a lot of people go to Taiwan because the infrastructure is already better, more in place. They're more friendly and accepting of foreigners. There's a whole list of companies that you can't own in the Philippines. Like, as a foreigner in certain businesses, they'll only let you own 40%. They won't let you own a controlling interest in certain companies.
Oh, really?
Same as Tonga. These small countries, they don't want to be just swallowed up by Americans, so they put laws in place to try to protect their indigenous people. So how to navigate that?
Just off the top of my head, maybe you partner with somebody who's there and you pay them to be the majority stakeholder or something. Maybe that would backfire.
Well, the other video I watched recommended seeking out the local law firms. They have business law firms that are basically dedicated to trying to help people navigate this stuff. So that'd probably be a good place to start a partnership.
You have to get a lawyer to be your front man for all that might work.
And they're not a part of your company. You're just paying them for their services. So once you're established, you may not need to continue paying them as much. You'll just keep them on as a consulting fee or something.
I see. You were also talking about the benefit of trade and how that works, just by importing and exporting things. Will you explain that again?
Well, the trick of importing and exporting is resources. So you take a commodity. If you take a commodity, then that's a real tangible thing, like a loaf of bread, for instance. or gold, those things have value outside of the game, as we've been calling it. So if I transport goods from one country to another, I basically remove it from the financial game or bubble of one country and then introduce it into the financial game or bubble of another. So
how do you make money off of that?
Off of the exchange rate, basically.
Explain that. Go into detail.
So if you go down to South America and you buy a bunch of bananas, you're buying those bananas for pesos. So the farmer that you're buying them from, I mean, you can make his day and pay him twice what he's asking for his harvest. And then when you bring it back to the United States, you're no longer dealing in pesos. You're selling that product for dollars. So other than Trump's tariffs, you're able to rake in a huge profit because you bought them for like literally pennies on the dollar.
So the first thing that jumps out to me is that this is a very simple concept, and it has to be being used by American companies all the time. And because of that, you have a lot of competition for these resources from other countries, I imagine. So it's going to be hard to get bananas because Dole probably buys them all up.
Well, so Dole used this concept in Hawaii, since you're bringing up Dole, and they actually used that concept to turn Hawaii into one of the United States. The pineapples in Hawaii were planted by Dole. They weren't an indigenous crop. And they grew them there using the cheap island labor, using the cheap island land.
Well, we don't really want to go too far into what Dole did to Hawaii, because they dethroned the Queen of Hawaii and they staged like a whole coup. It was very backhanded. I don't really know all the details, but it wasn't just trade and hey, let's be part of it and all happy friendliness. They basically stole the country from the Hawaiians and then made it a state.
Which is why there are so many laws in place in the Philippines and in Tonga preventing foreigners from being able to do that again. And that's not my intention. I'm only trying to benefit from the situation and not trying to take over countries.
I just wanted to go back to what you're saying was my point. It's like there are companies that are doing this and they're doing it systematically. So how can a little guy get in on this game? How can a little guy make money off of trading from one currency
Well, it's that
to another?
blue ocean thing that you were saying. You have to go into a place where it isn't. So there are places where we are doing it, but there are other places where there isn't enough infrastructure to support the big guys creating a system to do it. But there is enough resources for a small guy to profit.
Explain. I don't really follow that very well.
If you're going to be a company that supplies fruit to the United States, you've got to bring in billions of bushels of whatever you're bringing in. And you've got to have a network of distribution in the United States. And then you have to have a big enough network in your foreign country to supply that network without ever dropping the ball. You have to always have product available for them. And all of that takes a substantial infrastructure.
So can you think of an example of some niche, some blue ocean opportunity for a guy that has maxed like 20 grand to invest in an offshore product?
Other than the one that I'm thinking of trying to exploit?
Which one was that?
Love. Between...
No, that's not the trade thing. I mean, what you're doing is you're bringing Americans to the Philippines and you're taking those Americans' money in exchange for a service. And yes, that would be American money, and so it's good in America and in the Philippines. But you're talking about exchanging bananas, pesos for bananas, bananas for dollars. What is the banana that a little guy can actually do in trade between countries? What is the product that you actually can ship and make a profit on regardless of tariffs and competition?
I haven't found that yet. Something coming from the islands.
When Lolo was moving to was it Rwanda or what was it? You, Nana, and Lolo, you guys were moving to another Haiti. What was he trying to transport? What was he and his business partner planning on shipping?
I'm not sure what they were exporting.
Oh, here's an idea. I mean, this actually might be really hard. But you said that the Philippines over there, their alcohol is like water to them.
Yeah.
So what if you could buy Filipino alcohol for like pennies because they just give it away and then take it to the U.S. And you know how alcohol here is like they charge like $100 for a bottle that has a gold label or something stupid. So if you can get Filipino liquor and sell it here as if it's a tropical rarity, you could probably make a lot of money. I mean, there's probably a lot of tariffs and taxes on that, but I bet there's an opportunity in that one. I've never even seen Filipino alcohol before.
Yeah, if you can bring it in a small enough trickle, you could probably avoid the massive tariffs.
Why do you say that?
Just alcohol, everything about alcohol is based upon the laws of controlling the profit made from selling alcohol.
So wouldn't they still give us that tariff specifically because it's alcohol? We're not smuggling here.
No, we're not smuggling, but they already have it worked into the system to where if you're bringing in smaller quantities, like if you bring in just 2 bottles in your suitcase, you don't pay any tariffs at all. So I'm assuming that if you're only bringing in 100 cases, then you pay less tariffs than if you're bringing in 10 containers.
I'd have to look into it, but I don't believe you. I doubt that. The bureaucrats are a bunch of bastards, as far as I know. And I think that 2 bottles is probably the minimum of whatever you're talking about in your briefcase. I think anything like a pallet would probably just get the standard tariff.
Okay.
I mean, that's just my guess. Okay, well, we are now at the gas station. We're going to grab some drinks. We may come back on, we may not. If we don't see you again, please tune in to the Father and Son podcast on our drive to work. Whatever you like. Have a good day and goodbye.